Yes, sir. Here, take that.
Thank you, Governor. The question I have is, with the difficulty of reaching across the aisle and everything so polarized, how important is the issue that either one of the leading candidates instantly become lame ducks the minute their terms start?
Well, I would hope not. You know, the leading candidates now, as you say, become lame ducks immediately. People can ignore them. And look, they each probably would be ignored for different reasons. On the Biden side, I think he'd be ignored because he doesn't have the energy anymore to do what you need to do to bring people across the aisle, because it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of time. For Donald Trump, when he says, "I am your retribution," doesn't sound to me like he's going to be inviting, like, you know, Chuck Schumer and into the Oval Office to talk about what they can do in the next term. So both of them are not going to be uniters in this country. I had this experience in New Jersey. And remember, I'm in one of the bluest states in the country. Now, there'll be some argument about whether it's us or New York or Illinois or California. But let me make the pitch for why New Jersey is the bluest. We haven't elected a Republican to the United States Senate since 1972. It is the longest streak for any state in the country, including those others, not to elect a Republican to the U.S. Senate. It is a wildly blue state. And when I got elected in 2009, I had a Democratic legislature. 10-vote margin in the Senate, 16-vote margin in the lower house. So I had to make a decision, a fundamental decision when I got in there. Was I going to try to work with the other side, or was I just going to, like, yell and scream and make headlines? And so what I did during the transition was I got in the car and drove over 2 hours to where the Senate President's office was. Now, let me tell you, the Senate President of New Jersey is a guy named Steve Sweeney, who is the president of the Iron Workers Union. Another shy and retiring fella like me from New Jersey, right? So I drive down there unannounced to see the Senate President. I go to his office, and I walk in, and his secretary looks like she's going to pass out. Like, what are you doing here? I had no appointment. And she said, Governor-elect, what are you doing here? I said, I want to see the Senate President. She said, well, you don't have an appointment. I said, I think he'll see me. Is he here? And she said, he is. Let me go see if he's available. So she goes and walks back there, and then I figured out why she was being so standoffish about it. He came out, he had just gotten back from the gym. So he was in sweatpants and a t-shirt and sneakers. He's like, Governor, I didn't expect you. And I said, well, I was in the neighborhood, so I decided to stop by. He goes, bullshit, your neighborhood is 2 hours away. And I said, I came here to talk to you. Can we go in your conference room alone? And he said, yeah. I said, look, Steve, we have a fundamental decision to make here. I said, are we going to fight with each other for the next 8 years? And he said, 4 years. I said, 8 years. I said, or are we going to put touchdowns in the end zone? I said, I want to tell you, I want to put touchdowns in the end zone. I said, but I know I need you to do it. So what do you want to do? And he looked at me and he said, I need you to make me one promise. I said, okay, what's that? He goes, that you'll always tell me the truth. The first time you lie to me, it's over. And I said, all right, I'll tell you the truth. He stood up, put his hand out, and said, all right, let's try to do this. And for the next 8 years, we didn't always get along. And I remember one Sunday morning going down the bottom of the driveway to get the newspaper, and the front page of the Sunday paper, and the biggest paper in New Jersey said, Sweeney, I want to punch Christie in the head. So we did not always get along. But in a blue state, with the Democrats in charge of the legislature, we passed pension reform that saved $120 billion on the state pension. We passed health benefit reform that for the first time required public workers pay a percentage of their health benefits before the taxpayer paid all of them. We passed legislation that fired the entire Kansas City Police Department because it was the most dangerous city in America and they wouldn't change. So we fired the entire police department and rehired a new one and trained them in violence de-escalation and community policing. You know what's happened in the 10 years since we did that? The murder rate in Canada is down 75%, and the overall violent crime rate is down 66%. We did things that you would think Republicans and Democrats could never do together. Here's how you do it. It's harder to hate up close. You've got to get to know people. It's still a people business. And when I got to know Steve's wife, Patricia, and his son, Steve, and his daughter, Lauren, who was young, used to come to my office when he would bring her to the State House, and she would come and hang out with me. When you get to know these people on a personal level, you talk to them about why they came here in the first place, what it is they really want to accomplish when they're here, what do they care about the most. You can get things done. But as I was saying in response to one of the earlier questions, it takes a lot of energy. I mean, Mary Pat and I in those 8 years spent more time, not only with people we didn't agree with, but people we didn't even like, that I can count. But they got elected too. So you got to deal with them. Ignoring them leads to what we have in Washington right now. Just nobody gets anything done. And, Ronald Reagan used to say that the guy who disagrees with me 20% of the time is not my 20% enemy, he's my 80% friend. And we got to start to get back to that. And we need someone who knows how to do it because they've done it. And nobody else in this race has. Everybody else in this race is from a red state with red legislatures. And that's all their experience has been. That everybody in the room agrees with each other for the most part. That's not what Washington's going to be. And so yes, they'll both be lame ducks and I think ignored for different reasons. What we need to do is get somebody there who, one, won't be a lame duck, and two, has experience in delivering results with the other side. And my job as president will be to use the bully pulpit to argue, to convince you that you should support what I want to do. And they all read those numbers. And the more I convince the more of you to be on my side, the closer the result will be to what I want. But you gotta work it and earn it. You don't get given it. But in the end, when you produce results, that's what government is supposed to be. Right now, it's not that. Not by a long shot. And why, if we believe that? And I haven't found a Republican, an independent, or a Democrat in this state who said, yeah, everything's great. Government's doing a great job down there in D.C. Don't change a thing. Everybody's angry about something about it. Well, if you are, why the hell would you send the same people back? Why would you send Trump or Biden back? You're going to get the same result, which is anger and division and no results. So it's a really important question and one that I think I'm uniquely prepared to take on, because if I dealt with the president of the Iron Workers Union in New Jersey, I'm ready for Chuck Schumer. Come on, let me ready for you. Yes, sir, in the back.